Good morning. We continue talking about the passions that drive Lifeline Community, our church. And we have talked about the acrostic passion, passionate worship, authentic spirituality, the sufficiency of the Bible, sharing the gospel. And we come to the I on the acrostic passion, and that is we're driven by the importance of the family. Now, we do not deify the family. We don't worship the family. We recognize that God instituted the church, and the church in many ways is a family of families. Within that, we think that it's important, though, that there's something divinely instituted about the dynamics of a family. It's not to exclude singles. Singles are a part of our family, and they're parts of their own family. It is to recognize that life moves forward through reproduction, and that one of the purposes of marriage is having godly children. In the Old Testament, God put a lot into emphasizing the importance of the family. And the people of God in the Old Testament needed to exemplify what it meant to follow God and to follow him by passing down his truth from generation to generation. Now, there's a couple really sad verses in the Old Testament. A couple of them are found in the book of Judges. And the book of Judges reads like a rated R movie. It is an intense series of situations that emerge. In chapter 2, verse 10, we read this: "And all that generation also were gathered to their fathers." Talking about the generation of Joshua and those who went into the promised land with Joshua and Caleb and overcame many of the Canaanites and settled there in the land. "And there arose another generation after them who did not know the Lord or the work that he had done for Israel." By the end of the book of Judges, in chapter 21, we'll read that people at that time did what was right in their own eyes. So what you have is a generation that grew up who didn't know the work of God. They weren't taught about the work of God. And as a result, relativism reigned. Well, interestingly enough, just a while before, God had told the generation before Joshua, he told them, listen, pay attention. I need you to take the law and take my teaching and pass it down from generation to generation. So in chapter 6 of Deuteronomy, in verse 5, Moses wrote, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words that I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates." He's making a point. And the point is, you have a responsibility to teach your children and to impact your family with the Word of God. Now, each of you have different challenges. Some of you are in families where your whole family are filled with believers, or your children are very open to the Word of God. Others of you are, maybe God brought you to himself and he's going to use you to influence your family. Regardless of where you are, he wants you to be the kind of person that cares about his word in the context of your family. Doesn't mean you use it as a billy club to beat people up with. It means that you use it as this love letter from God to show them through the revelation of God how much he loves and cares for them and how passionate he is for them. The family is really important. It's a key mode that God has chosen to disseminate his love and the knowledge of himself through generation after generation after generation. Think about how you can contribute to multi-generational faithfulness through the importance of the family. May the Lord bless you today.